Hello beautiful souls, welcome back. For today's video I have been thinking about the astrology. I have been growing up with astrology and with energy healing. I've been growing up with tarot cards, so pretty spiritual. But since I started being interested in the law of attraction and stuff like quantum physics quite a bit, and not just quite a bit, but I'm not really very deep into the topic, but I would say I'm someone who is able to connect dots even if they seem very far away, and I always kind of like refer it to this topic like as within so without and as above so below. There's one point in astrology that I have been growing up with, is the belief that everything is predestined, or let's say that we don't have a free will. So I don't know, you're born with certain planetary constellations, and therefore you will never be able to live like this or like that. To be honest, I don't believe in that, because I've been practicing the law of attraction, like from my point of view, long enough to say that we absolutely have a free will, and therefore I have been diving a little bit into the astrology. I've been growing up with it, but I have never been really practicing it. There's some stuff that I know about, but there's still a lot of stuff that I don't know about. But as I said, I really have fun with connecting dots. I've been thinking about, okay, where's the free will in astrology? And first of all, due to the stuff that I learned throughout the last 2 years, I absolutely believe that astrology has been manifested, that the belief system around a planet has been manifested. Everything is intention. I mean, if everything is intention, everything was created out of intention. So I do absolutely believe that astrology, or not the astrology, I'm talking about the belief system about certain planets. And I mean, we had a lot of time, and at least since ancient Egypt, I believe we had a very huge time span to create a pretty huge belief system around astrology, and that's why it works. You know, we know that what you focus on expands, and if we are thinking about how many beings, and I'm not just talking about human beings, but how many beings have been like working on the creation of astrology, or working on the creation around a belief system about astrology, I mean, therefore it must work. For example, the belief system around the Mercury, or the Mercury Retrograde, there has been built a huge belief system around it. And now we are coming to the topic polarity. The Mercury Retrograde is known as bringing some turbulent times, referring communication or transportations or contracts. So people say don't sign contracts in this time. Well, the point is, I do go grocery shopping, and this works pretty well. And I'm, to be honest, I mean, I'm like kind of signing contracts when I'm doing my grocery shopping. For me, it's not about like being anxious about signing contracts, or being anxious about like going out. I don't know, maybe this appointment is not going to work or something like that. For me, the Mercury retrograde, and I'm really happy that there are so many astrologers outside that say, hey, come on, don't freak out about it. It is actually there to, and this is the light attribute. We're talking about polarity. This is the light attribute of this phase, because it's usually only like the Mercury goes retrograde about 3 weeks, and before and after there's kind of a shadow phase, what we call a shadow phase. The point is that it is up to you if you perceive this retrograde as a curse or a blessing. It's up to you, it's your perception. So the same like with the tarot cards. If there is an astrologer telling you, oh my gosh, we are going to have a Mercury retrograde, let's freak out collectively. Don't feed into it, because you're feeding this belief system, this low vibrational belief system of the collective consciousness. And again, that's not necessary. So in order to be able to see the light attributes, you need to raise your vibration a little bit. So I have been asking myself, what else could be kind of an evidence for us that there is absolutely a free will in astrology? So I think that actually in astrology, yeah, some things are predestined. I'm absolutely sure of it. But due to the fact that every zodiac sign, every planetary constellation, and every planet that has been manifested has a light and a shadow attribute, that's polarity again, why would it exist if there would not be any free will? And the next point is, if there would be no free will in astrology, why do we have a north and a south node? My understanding of the north node and the south node is that the south node, you are having the south node, and this is something karmic that you bring from, for example, past lives. If you believe in reincarnation, cool. If not, it's okay. So just see the south node as something, it's kind of a shadow attribute of a zodiac sign that you kind of bring into your life. And the north node is your kind of destination. But the north node represents the light attribute of the zodiac sign. That's my understanding. And that makes actually pretty much sense, because we want to expand the universe. That's why we're here. We're actually only here for expansion. And this is another point why I believe that there must be a free will, because I absolutely believe that the universe, I don't know, do we need really to believe in something like this? I mean, it's pretty obviously, the universe is expanding. Okay, what is it that let the universe expand? If we see it not just only from a spiritual part, kind of from a scientific point of view. I learned things that get hot like expand. If we compare the temperature to the Hawkins scale, the vibrational scale, like the lowest vibration and the highest vibration, and I would like compare it to, for example, the lowest vibration equals the lowest temperature and the highest vibration equals the highest temperature. And since we know everything that gains in heat would expands, that the universe works the same. I mean, why not? Why not? I'm pretty sure it is like that. So, as I said in the tarot card video, take what resonates, leave the rest. This is just like, you know, some philosophical questions. The next point is another thought that I have is like, I'm pretty sure that many planets haven't been explored yet. So how do I know if certain characteristic traits that I have are really due to the fact that, I don't know, that for example I do have my south node, I believe in Sagittarius, north node in Gemini. I think it's like that. So, I mean, who says that it is really due to this point that my south node, for example, is in Sagittarius? A next point that I've been thinking about. So how could we, what would be the best way to use astrology? When you're having, for example, a Mercury retrograde, the best way to approach it is like to that's why it's the retrograde, damn it. So you could, for example, reevaluate your plans, or rethink about stuff, things that you have been doing over a certain period, and you might like to have a look at it again and reevaluate these plans that you have. Rethink, reconsider things that you have been maybe thrown away before, and rethink it. This is really cool. Actually, Mercury retrograde really kind of pushes us into a state of being where rethinking and reevaluating is actually the best thing we could do. This is something that we could absolutely use with other planetary placements. I really have no example, but due to the fact that every planet has a light and a shadow attribute, as well as the zodiac signs, wouldn't it be the best case scenario to raise your vibration in order to change your perception about something, for getting access to these light attributes? And last but not least, there was one thing I have been thinking about: unconditional love. I know I'm talking a lot about it, but hear me out first. So, by the way, yeah, that's a pig. I need it. I've been thinking about how unconditional love corresponds with free will. And if everything that is within, it is also so without, therefore unconditional love don't just exist inside of us, so even has made us. And to those of you who say, okay, I believe in God, I mean, this is the first thing they say about God. God has unconditional love for the human being. And those of you who say, okay, we're talking about the universe, we're talking about source, about spirit, about whoever or whatever, it really doesn't matter. I'm finding unconditional love in every teaching. At least a few times it has been talking about. What we're doing with it, it's up to us. And it's, again, perception. But I've been asking myself, if Source God is loving us unconditionally, why should we exist if I don't see the unconditional love? This is what I'm talking about. I'm really searching for the unconditional love behind not having a free will. That doesn't make any sense to me. And it doesn't feel right. This is the point. It really doesn't feel right to me. The next thing that I have been asking myself, and this is what I said in the beginning of the video, so if we don't have a free will, why there is polarity? Why everything has two sides? Why everything has a light and a shadow attribute if there would be no free will? Another thing that really doesn't make any sense to me. So why is there a choice given if we are not here to choose? That doesn't make any sense. At least not for me. That was my deep dive into my take on astrology and the free will, and that both can absolutely exist. And the astrology is a huge field of possibilities. It is so huge, and I don't believe that every astrologer knows everything about everything, simply because there are some planets that haven't been discovered yet. So be cool with yourself about it. Take it easy, because in the end it is you who decides if this thing that you have been told by an astrologer or by someone who is like kind of interested in astrology like me, if it is really kind of a firm plan and there's no light or left or right, or if it is about your free will and you can decide if you want to go this path or that path, if you want to freak out at a Mercury retrograde, or if you want to sit down, cool, quiet, reevaluate your plans. Just, you know, think about it. If you believe that it's still what you want, yeah. So thank you for being back again, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.